The base camp stretches like this down the glacier, and the outfitter I went with was fortunate to secure the top spot in camp, but we did have to stare out at the treacherous ice fall, which is the most violent section of the glacier, where the ice is just a continuously flowing river of ice that's rupturing on the rock below, which creates these massive crevasses. Some are small, some are so big they say they don't even have a bottom. And we would walk around them, we'd walk over them, we'd walk through them. It was pretty awesome. But that ice fall is the section that takes you to Camp 1. So.
What's the temperature here, Andrew, at base
Temperature,
camp?
typical day at base camp, the sun would come out, it would be pretty powerful, and you could get down into like a long sleeve t-shirt during the day, but then right around like 3 p.m. it would start to get pretty cold, and at night you'd always have like puffy pants on, a big parka, your beanie, and then I think it was around like 0 most nights.
Okay, at base camp.
And then this is my humble home right here. Was in that thing for 47 days. It was lovely. It was lovely, and it smelled great.
You got a roommate?
I did not have a roommate at base camp, thankfully. At all the camps above, we paired up for safety. We trained up at base camp for a few days. Every company built one of these training, courses where we'd go up, we'd throw some ice anchors in, we'd set some ropes up, we'd practice ascending, we'd practice descending, traversing, we'd practice working together, we'd practice moving gear across ropes, till the point where they finally said we practiced going over the ladders, so when we got to a big crevasse, we wouldn't be completely scared, we'd just be a little scared. And finally we got the green light that we were ready to go.
The ladders were there already, yes.
The ladders get put in by a team. They get put in each year by a team that's sponsored by the federal government of Nepal. They get paid to go forth, set the ropes where it's like a no fall zone is what we call it, and then they go and set the ladders where the spots
You're not putting out your ladder before you're climbing.
No. Those ladders are in there, but they are traversed by everyone, all 800 people that attempted Everest this year. And so things fray, the ice melts, things shift, and every 3 days or so, the route would change in the ice fall, and you'd be ready for some section, and then all of a sudden it would look completely different. But we worked together, we figured it out. So right before we went, they had this puja ceremony, really cool. Everyone gathered around. There was a massive avalanche during the ceremony, which they told us was good luck. It kind of reminded of like when it rains on your graduation at West Point, you're like going to war or whatever. They're like, oh, if there's an avalanche during your puja ceremony, like you're gonna have a good climb. But it was pretty cool. It was pretty fun. This is the team, minus one. Lauren, best and banker up in New York, just like my big sister on the trip. Absolutely incredible human being. And Nani, our lead guide after the puja ceremony. This was kicking off, moving up through the ice fall. See base camp lightly. You can see the yellow tents in the background, moving through all that ice. We're now moving up the mountain. This was a monster. This crevasse was truly like completely black in the bottom. It was so deep. I don't even want to know what would happen if someone fell. And we called it the 8-banger. There was 8 ladders, kind of bootleg tied together with a nice like sag in the middle, some random ropes just like tied to random things. I think just for confidence. And but we'd work together. We'd hold the ropes. We'd hold tension for our teammates. See how to like a makeshift railing.
How many would go? Oh.
Andrew, are you all tied together at that point?
We are not. I think in this section there were ropes that were tied to ice anchors to the ice.
Okay.
But there were sections where there were no ropes and we would tie together.
Andrew, how much weight are you carrying?
Carrying about 45, 50 pounds. So we went up the mountain 3 times. We went up a little bit, we came down, we went up a little bit more, we came down, and then we summited And each time we'd bring 50 pounds and we'd leave it, like sleeping bags, food, things for the upper mountain that we wouldn't need, and we would cache our gear at the different camps. And that's how we got all our stuff up. And the ice fall it's just so amazing because you just never know what you're gonna get. Like we'd be up top and then you descend into a giant gully and there's just ice like crumbling and falling off constantly. And the only thing you can do is just move quickly.
Had you climbed ice prior to this?
Yes. We, believe it or not, out in Washington in the Cascades, it's not as big as this, but there are a ton of opportunities on glaciers in the Cascades to get a ton of training in.
And what are the colors in the ice?
What are the colors?
Yeah.
Every shade of blue, white, gray, I mean, lot of different shades of blue. It really depended on the pressure, on how old like that block of ice was, how much compression. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was awesome. Beautifully terrifying. You'd get to sections, you'd be walking along, and then there would just be a vertical wall, and those were pretty tiring. And we had a tool called an ascender. Mine's sitting back there, and that basically goes up the rope, locks into position, and allows you to reset your feet, so you can keep moving up the rope like we're doing here. This was a cool section. This was the easiest section. We called this Cake Day. This was moving from Camp 1 to Camp 2. This is the valley. This is like the Everest Valley. Mount Everest is right here. And the route goes straight all the way up the valley, and you go up this face called the Lhotse face, and then you turn left and you head up Mount Everest from there. Problem with this day, it got really hot. We'd be shedding layers and we'd be down to like a long sleeve before long. We tried to do it most of the time at night because the sun is just so intense and you're at such a high elevation that the sun is just beating down on you.
But what's your elevation there?
We're at 20,000 feet. So this is like Kilimanjaro, Denali, Aconcagua is 23, a little higher.
Is it hard to breathe up right here?
It's definitely getting hard to breathe. Yes, I mean luckily we've had time and we're trying to inch our way along and go a little higher each time. But right here we're not on oxygen yet. This was definitely in that zone where it got a little tough to breathe. Just some beautiful scenery everywhere. Just the prayer flags. If you saw the prayer flags, I meant you made it. I meant you made it to the next camp. It was always a really refreshing sight to see prayer flags from a distance. This is another shot of that wall that was smack dab in the middle between Camp 1 and Camp 2. I don't know how tall it was, but it was pretty tall. There's Mount Everest in the background, just for scale. Still had a long way to go. Coming down that same wall. This was a cool one. This was new on the final push, so I thought we had the ice fall mapped out. We came back down after the second rotation, and we're getting ready to go for the summit. And all of a sudden, there is this gaping crevasse, just dark as could be, and they set up this kind of gangster rigged ladder that was like leaning to the side and like wasn't attached right. And so we kind of set up a test dummy, set up our own anchor, created our own backup system that we all attached to when we navigated out.
Are you doing that in the dark?
In the dark, yes.
Nice.
Yeah. Shadow Wells and I back at Camp 1. Always tried to get out of our tents. It was very easy to just want to hide from the world, want to hide from the elements, and just stay in your tent for the 20 hours that you were at each camp. But our team had a pretty good routine of getting out when it was kind of warm. This is up at like 20,000 feet, and right around like 3:30 p.m. we just called that golden hour, and we try to go out and have tea together, chat about the next day, and try to have a little sense of normality as best we could.
What was your daylight, sunlight
nighttime ratio?
I mean, it's like on elevation with Florida, so it's the days are getting longer, kind of getting towards the summer equinox, so
Yeah.
days were definitely a little longer than nights. Surviving Camp 1, sharing that tent, loving life. Really cool opportunity. This is Kami Rita Sherpa. You can't see it, but on his patch on his right chest pocket, it says Everest Man, and that's his nickname because he has the world record and just summited for the 31st time. And so I'm coming down, and we were just below Camp 3 here, and no oxygen and a little bit of mountain brain. I was like, I think that's Kami Rita Sherpa. And one of the guys confirmed, they're like, absolutely. And I was just, boom, we're right up to him. And he answered all of our questions. He was super kind. He was guiding a different group that's in the background. They were taking a break. And pretty surreal. I mean, just unbelievable. He's been doing this since the 80s, I think.
Andrew, which one is you? Just to clarify.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
The one who doesn't know how to dress. I promise I wasn't wearing all blue in the morning, and then I shed a bunch of layers, and I'm unfortunately wearing all navy blue. But
You're all blue on the left.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, and that's him on the right.